Have you ever noticed how some numbers just seem to pop up everywhere? In movies, in stories, even in our own lives. But what if I told you that in one of the world's most ancient texts, one number isn't just a coincidence, it's a code. A divine signature that unlocks a hidden layer of meaning. Today, we're diving deep into the Bible's best-kept secrets, starting with the mysterious code of the number 7. So, why 7? Is it just a lucky number? Not according to the Bible. Here, the number 7 is a powerful symbol. It represents perfection, completion, and God's divine plan in action. Think about it, the very first story, the creation of the universe, unfolds over a period of 7 days. God works for 6, and on the 7th, he rests, marking his creation as complete and perfect. It's the original blueprint for our week, but it doesn't stop there. This pattern repeats itself over and over. Remember the story of Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. The Israelites didn't just storm the city. God gave them a specific 7-day plan. They marched around Jericho for 7 days. On the 7th day, 7 priests with 7 trumpets marched around the city 7 times, and only then did the walls come tumbling down. It wasn't about military strength. It was about following God's perfect, complete plan to the letter. Fast forward to the very end of the Bible, the book of Revelation. It's practically a symphony of 7s. You have 7 churches, 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls of wrath, 7 spirits before God's throne. Each set of 7 signifies a complete phase of God's ultimate plan for humanity. It's as if God is signing his work, telling us, "This is finished. This is my perfect will unfolding." Now, this is where it gets truly mind-blowing. Some biblical scholars have discovered what they call hidden 7s embedded directly into the original Hebrew text. Take the very first verse of the Bible, Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In Hebrew, this sentence is exactly 7 words long, and even more astonishing, those 7 words are made up of exactly 28 letters, which is 4 times 7. It's a hidden mathematical signature of divine perfection, woven into the very fabric of the first words of Scripture. It suggests that from the first moment of creation, God's perfect, complete plan was already in place. Every time you see the number 7 in the Bible, it's a signal to pay attention. It's a sign that God's work is being completed, or a divine plan is reaching its fulfillment. All right, we've cracked the code of 7, but the Bible has even more mysterious figures hidden in its pages. Are you ready for a story about a king who appears out of thin air, with no past, no family, and no explanation, only to vanish just as quickly? Let's talk about one of the Bible's greatest enigmas, the priest-king, Melchizedek. Imagine this. The great patriarch Abraham has just returned from a massive battle, rescuing his nephew Lot. He's a victorious warrior. Suddenly, a figure emerges from the city of Salem, which means peace. His name is Melchizedek, and the Bible calls him both King of Salem and Priest of God Most High. This is highly unusual. In ancient Israel, kings and priests were from separate lines. But here's this man, holding both titles. He brings out bread and wine, not a typical offering for a returning war hero. He then blesses Abraham, the man who God himself had promised to bless. And Abraham, this powerful patriarch, bows down and gives Melchizedek 1/10 of everything he has. Then, just as mysteriously as he appeared, Melchizedek is gone. The story moves on, and he's not mentioned again for 1,000 years. Who was this guy? The text gives us no genealogy, no record of his birth or death. He just exists, a priest forever. For centuries, readers were left wondering, Was he a historical king, an angel, just a symbolic character? The answer remains hidden until the New Testament, in the book of Hebrews. The author of Hebrews pulls back the curtain on this ancient mystery, and what he reveals is astounding. He explains that Melchizedek wasn't just some random king. He was a foreshadowing, a living symbol of someone far greater, Jesus Christ. Think about the parallels. Melchizedek is the king of Salem, the king of peace. Jesus is called the Prince of Peace. Melchizedek offers bread and wine, the very elements Jesus would later use at the Last Supper to represent his body and blood, the new covenant. Most importantly, Melchizedek is a priest with no beginning or end recorded in Scripture. Hebrews says this makes him a symbol of Jesus, our eternal high priest, whose priesthood doesn't depend on family lineage, but on his divine, unending life. Some theologians take this a step further. They believe Melchizedek wasn't just a symbol of Jesus, but that he was actually a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ himself. Think about that. This could be Jesus, appearing in human form to Abraham, hundreds and hundreds of years before he was born in Bethlehem. It would mean that God was revealing his plan of salvation, his eternal priesthood, right there in the book of Genesis. This mysterious encounter wasn't just a strange historical footnote. It was a profound glimpse into God's eternal plan. It showed that the salvation offered through Jesus wasn't an afterthought. It was woven into history from the very beginning. So let's bring it all together. We've looked at two incredible hidden secrets in the Bible. First, the number 7. It's not just a number. It's a symbol of divine perfection and completion. It teaches us that God's plan is always thorough, always perfect, and always moving towards a definitive conclusion. When you see a 7, you know God is at work, finalizing a masterpiece. Then we have the mystery of Melchizedek. This enigmatic priest-king who appears and disappears is a powerful foreshadowing of Jesus as our eternal high priest. He shows us that God's plan for our salvation through Jesus wasn't a last-minute decision. It was an eternal promise, revealed in mysterious ways even in the most ancient times. God has always been present, always working to bring peace and redemption to humanity. These are just two examples of the incredible depth hiding just beneath the surface of the biblical text. It's not just a collection of old stories. It's a living, breathing tapestry of meaning, filled with codes, symbols, and mysteries that continue to reveal God's incredible plan for the world. What we see on the surface is just the beginning of the story. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the Bible's hidden secrets. If you found this fascinating and want to uncover more mysteries with me, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next adventure. Let me know in the comments which biblical mystery you'd like us to explore next. See you in the next video.